When it comes to relationships, men oftentimes get destroyed upon leaving them, not because the loss was so tragic, but because most times they blame it on themselves. Good men can realize this. They say, wow, I failed within this regard. And as men, you have to realize if you don't want to do this, if you don't want to lose out on that love of your life because you weren't enough, then you got to fix some things up in your life, whether it be lusting or dedication or discipline, whatever it may be. In this video, I want to help you out and give you just some key pointers on what's necessary as a man to just be better, more equipped, and more well prepared. As we all know, God won't bless you with our wife if you yourself are not ready for it. And as a result, any woman to come into your life is unfortunately a lesson. So if you don't want to be like that man who has lesson after lesson while just wanting a wife, then watch this video in its entirety and learn the necessary things you need to change. Not changing your whole personality, not changing who you are, but becoming the best version of you can possibly be. So you do deserve that wife. And so you don't have to worry about whether she'll be a lesson or not. So let's get straight into it. What is it that we don't accomplish prior to getting into a relationship that oftentimes sabotages it? Well, first of all, it's our discipline, the lack thereof. When we are inconsistent with our work, whether it be waking up on time, whether it be working on a project or a business you have, or even school, as oftentimes we get into relationships young, that communicates to her that you are not ready. Think about it. If you can't be consistent to something you've been living with, how can you be consistent to someone entering your life? Now, oftentimes has to do with our priorities, and we'll prioritize the woman, but she doesn't know that, and she can't trust you. After all, she can't submit to you right away, because a woman who submits to you right away would be a bad woman. She would have to wait and trust your leadership. And how can you lead if you're inconsistent? Nevertheless, while men imagine their future, women foresee a future off of predictions and pattern recognition. They're detail-oriented after all. So if you just think about it for a moment, if you're inconsistent, she can't foresee a future with you. And so as a result, consistency is something you'll want to work on right away. That doesn't mean being perfect, but it means in your imperfection, you take accountability, and that will make you perfect. Being the man who takes his accountability and steps up for when he steps down, right? Talking and apologizing for sleeping in or making it up to himself for lusting or falling short once again to his addictions. Whatever it may be, your consistency will be found in your innate desire to be better and stronger every day of the week. Additionally, we're going to look at our insecurities. Now, insecurities oftentimes are used to punish men. They're used to hurt them, especially when they're unreal, right? Like when a man tells his partner not to dress so promiscuously and she calls him insecure. But there's a bit of a truth to this, because sometimes men really struggle with insecurities. They're too short, or their body isn't the way they want it. The thing is, though, insecurities can be used to both punish and to elevate us. So a good man isn't someone who has no insecurities, but rather it's someone who uses them to become better. Think about it. You think you're unfit or not as fit as you'd like, so go to the gym. You think you're stupid or not as smart as you'd like, so you read a book. Insecurities aren't there to punish us, and they're certainly not there for women to use as ammunition against us. However, they're there for us to challenge ourselves intellectually, spiritually, and physically to become better. So don't be ashamed of the way you think or the horrors you've gone through in your life. Believe me, I have mine. But rather use those insecurities as reasons to be better, and a good woman will appreciate that. But if you're not using these insecurities as a reason to become better, unfortunately, they just become ammunition against you. And additionally, we find impulse, right? Impulsiveness is dangerous. It's the same with inconsistency. Now, it is nice to just spontaneously go and do good things. But if you're so spontaneous, then are you likely to do bad things? And the opposite of impulsiveness is consistency. But are you consistently weak or consistently strong? So take it as face value and be honest with yourself. Do you push forward in the wrong directions? And are you quick to do the wrong things? And here's why impulsiveness is specifically so dangerous. It's one thing to just knock it up in the morning or to lust because you felt like it. But what if you hurt her because you felt like it? What if in the moment you got so upset that you lashed out? What if impulsively you yelled at her or cussed her out, or not even any of that, but you just said the wrong thing and you hurt her feelings and now she can't trust you? Impulsiveness is dangerous because it's a trap waiting to be walked into. It's something that's just building up, and because you don't know how to control it as a man, One day or another, it might be used to hurt her. And she'll recognize that. Believe me, she will. Overall, though, you're not supposed to date someone to feel better, but you're supposed to prepare yourself in advance to be better, right? That doesn't mean a woman can't help you. Believe me, women are the best supporters God will ever give you, and they're certainly there to make you feel better about your life and be better as a man. But if you're not actively trying to be better and feel better before the woman, how can she trust you that she'll be adequate enough, right? So, what is it that these red flags present to us that make us so dangerous as men? Well, first of all, is emotional volatility. I talked about impulsiveness and insecurity, but this really whittles down to emotional volatility. Women want a man who's emotionally intelligent and consistent. He has integrity. That means he knows how to talk, he knows how to communicate. And I love this. He's at the third tier of awareness, meaning he's always aware, he's always appreciative. Now, that's really hard as a man, but you can be the man who reads her mind. That's not some sort of fantasy, that's a real thing. That's not science fiction, that's the reality. If you're a good man who loves your woman and you're in tune with the way she feels, then you can really read her mind. That was something I can do occasionally, and it's something I'm working on being better at. Just being more empathetic. That's the opposite of being emotionally volatile. But if you are, your mood change is likely to be frequent, and you're likely to be easily offended, easily to be persuaded, easily to be pushed around. I'll be honest, emotionally unintelligent women are idiots. They say stuff they don't mean all the time. They tell you they hate you, and the next second they love you. They tell you they want to lay with you, and the next second you're a nobody to them. They're going to toss you all around the place, and it's unfortunate. But you can't let some emotionally unintelligent or ungrateful young lady boss you around and make you feel the way you feel. You have to be a man and be assertive over your own emotions. You have to be controlling. Whether it's a deep breath or speaking a bit slower or walking away from arguments or even just taking a time to think and reflect. Reflection is the best way to overcome emotional volatility. So if you realize just by hearing me communicate this to you that you have a little bit of a difficulty, which is okay, we all struggle as men, the best course of action is just to reflect and think. What can I do? Not overthinking in an unhealthy way, but just assuming every scenario and how you can be well equipped for it. Believe me, I've put myself out in the spotlight a couple times in my past relationships, and I've really put myself out there to be courageous and try to be the best man that I could be. I've done things that men would be terrified of. I was scared of. But it was those things and reflecting upon it beforehand that made me react in the best way I could be, saying the words that were best fit for the environment. So if you're afraid of emotional volatility, reflect more often and try your hardest to be a bit more stable, not with others, but certainly with yourself. So additionally, we find inconsistency. I touched on this earlier, but just to go over it again because it is important, we have to be consistent. Not because consistency is this magic formula that makes all relationships good, but because it means you're a good man. Simply put, if you're inconsistent, you're going nowhere. And like I mentioned earlier, women foresee a future. They don't imagine it like we as men do. They don't imagine the kids in the house. They foresee it because they can predict it. So if you're inconsistent, you're unpredictable. That doesn't mean you're not allowed to bring out the cute surprises like flowers and chocolates. And it doesn't mean you can't go above and beyond or have those days where you're really hurt. But those days have to be far and few in between. I mean, think about it. Frequent surprises are amazing. But you know what's not amazing? Frequent lash outs, frequent emotional vulnerability. That is damaging. I'm not saying you have to be tied up as a man and you're not allowed to talk, but you wouldn't want to ruin a good moment with some bad feelings, and you certainly wouldn't want to make a bad moment worse. Women will die and live for the moment. That's why she doesn't want you to leave. That's why she doesn't want you to go. That's why she doesn't want you to do this or that. They love the moment because a moment makes a woman feel chosen. And men like reassurance, but women want safety, and through safety they want to feel chosen, special, right? That's why the compliments might not mean so much to them because it's the moment that matters to them. So if you can build a moment through consistency, that's important to them. So if you're struggling with that, you got to pick one routine a day, whether it's always going to the gym or always eating good food. It doesn't matter. Some days you might sleep in, some days you might be completely messed up, but as long as you're just getting your stuff done, that's better than nothing. Of course, so in a perfect world, we would live routines like robots, but we're not robots, we're human. And being human is what makes us humane and better than robots. And finally, purpose. Purpose is a big one. Now, if you don't know where you're going, that's okay. We've all been there as men. But you need a purpose. Maybe a purpose is building that dream car. Maybe the purpose is building that business, getting better grades. You need a purpose. Not because as men without purpose we're meaningless, but because without purpose we can't find meaning. What I mean by this is, if your purpose is only her, that means all your attention goes to her, including the bad attention. But the truth is, men both need their partner and a purpose. Not as a substitute, but to supplant what is good. And what I mean by that is, if you come home after a long day and you can take your anger out on some purpose, whether it be just focusing your mind and all the negativity on something, like I am with these videos. I don't need to bog her down with my reflections or my complexities of my thought. I just talk to the camera and I say, this is what I feel. And you know what? My feelings and the way I work around my feelings is benefiting you because you're watching this man unpack what he's learned and you're using those learnings to benefit your own life. So purpose can be used to benefit your life and the lives of others. And it's certainly a beneficiary to your life and the life of your partner. So if you don't have a purpose, find a personal goal, something that you can sacrifice towards and you find greatness in. But that doesn't mean your partner can't also be your purpose. You can have multiple purposes as men and your purpose can shift. I believe as a man, your partner should be your first priority, and likewise, she should make you her first priority. Because as a man, if you come home and the first thing you want to do is see her, you're a good man. If you're thinking about what to do and it's got to do with her, then you're a good man. But a good man can do a lot of things at the same time. He's a master of everything. He's a perfect man. And I know that's really intimidating, right? We have to be the perfect man, but you know what that means? If we are going to be this perfect man, that doesn't mean faultless, but it means you're doing everything you can. Then that means you can get a woman who likewise is doing that for you. You only sow what you reap, as God would say. Oh, pardon me, my nose. Ooh, allergies. It's getting colder in Canada, and I moved back up north, so my nose is runny. But anyways, nonetheless, you sow what you reap. So if you're a good man, likewise, you'll get a good woman. So don't be afraid of saying, oh, what if she doesn't prioritize me or this and that? She will. Think about it. Women are easy to convince because they follow our leadership. That doesn't mean they're lesser than. That just means that's how they work, right? Men are hard to convince. They're hard to push around. Have you heard the stories of women saying he wouldn't change for me? That's because men suck at changing for people, right? That's why men say, oh, change for yourself, because that's the only thing they know how to do. A good man will change for other people, and likewise, so will a woman. So when you come and you show her, be it your religion or your work ethic or your goals or your purpose, or even her being your first priority, she'll succumb to your leadership and submit to you out of voluntary appreciation. She won't submit because you have an authority, but she'll submit because she trusts it, right? So through time, believe me, you'll find a good woman. But that means you got to work hard to be that good man. So set her as your priority and find balance with your purpose, something healthy. And of course, as I mentioned, impulse, especially with addiction. Are you going to lash out at her? Are you going to talk promiscuously about her in the wrong time? Impulse is the opposite of what we want as grounded men. I mean, as a grounded man, that means you almost have to have this control over everything. Not because you're controlling or manipulative, but because you're protective and you want to care. You want to say the right things at the right time, and you want to make the right times at the right place. And you want to carry her and protect her and wrap her up and care for her, right? Her safety is bound in how controlling you are of the situation, out of health, out of safety, out of caring and protection as men. You're not controlling because you're authoritative, but you're controlling because you're protective and you're a leader, right? After all, a leader has to silence the crowd before he gives his wishes. So you have to control the environment before you want to do what you want to do. And that's healthy and that's beautiful and that's caring as men. But impulsiveness destroys this, because when we want to do the right things and bring things together, we're going to lust and tear it apart. We're going to scroll and waste our time. We're going to crave when we should be working. We're going to be distracted when we should be focused. We're going to lash out on her and say the wrong thing. And even if you don't lash out, we'll say something that we didn't realize hurt her. And a good man will always be honest. He follows through with his promises. Impulse will take that down. I can say proudly, though I shouldn't be so proud, that as a man, I followed through with everything I said, and I mean the words I say. I love you is the most important words I'll ever hear, and they're the most important words that I've ever said. And I certainly mean them, and I'll carry that meaning down to the last day of my life and for all eternity, because that is what matters to me, and a good man likewise will carry his words with him. Though impulse may destroy it, he will overcome that impulse, and I hope you do too. Overall, though, between all of this, we find a bit of a self-respect. And I know self-respect is a bit meaningless nowadays, but it's kind of a big deal. A woman wants a man who can respect himself. She wants a man who can care about himself, a man who can actually appreciate himself. And look at me when I say this. You should respect yourself. Not because you're some lazy idiot and pathetic young man who, oh, he loves himself. But no, you should respect yourself because you want something more. I mean, hell, you're looking at YouTube videos of this young idiot who just talks about what he believes is best for himself and likewise for you. So you clearly want something. You want the woman, you want to be better, you want to be stronger, smarter, faster, more spiritual. Whatever it is, you want it. So respect yourself because you want it. Respect yourself because you want to be the better man. A better man for her, no less. So find self-respect and she'll appreciate that. But it also shows you have a spine. Because when you start to respect yourself out of good habits, you're not going to tolerate disrespect from her. You're not going to tolerate fakeness or flakiness or low standards and especially toxic friendships. So, you know those good women out there, far and few in between? They'll shine to you like a shining star. Because all the bad women would be afraid of you, right? A bad woman wants a man with no self-respect because it means she can manipulate him. It means it's okay if she's toxic and has a high body count and doesn't care. A good woman with self-respect likewise wants a good man with self-respect. So you won't have to worry with finding crappy women. You're only going to find the best woman because, likewise, a good woman would see the good fruit of your tree because a tree is fed. Whoa, hold on, let me retry that one. My apologies. Likewise, a good woman is going to look for the fruits of the tree, just as you look for the fruits of her tree. Meaning, as God says, bear the fruits of a tree, and a good fruit is made from a good tree. So it doesn't matter how pretty the bark is, doesn't matter how good the green leaves are. If the tree's fruit tastes like shit, then it's a shitty tree. So you won't have to worry about bad women coming into your life because you'll see their fruit. You'll see if they're kind, if they're toxic, because you have a self-respect, you have discernment, you have emotional integrity and intelligence. And women know that too. They're good at that. Good women are good at that too. So they'll pick you apart from the bad men and you won't have to worry about that. You won't have to worry about your dream wife choosing the wrong man or likewise, you finding the wrong woman. After all, good trees are fed from the roots. So if you're getting the good nutrients, you got the good foundation, then you'll do good. Overall, though, basically, a healthy relationship requires a healthy man, and it requires you doing the right thing. So if you don't fix these red flags, you're never going to find it. And that's not because these red flags need to be objectified and looked at, but because it's the basic outline of just being a good man, right? Are you going to stabilize yourself? Are you going to focus on what's important? Make the right priorities? But also understand this takes time. It takes a long time, but time adds value, right? Does it not? So the more time you spend, the better man you'll be. The more money you'll make, the stronger muscles you'll have, the healthier you'll look, the smarter you'll be, the more wisdom you'll have, the better relationship you'll have with God, your family, your friends. Isn't that precious? So don't search for this in an instant, but rather find it over time. And you'll be happy because each month you spend becoming a better man is a month you'll realize, wow, me a month ago would not have been better for a good woman. Me a month ago would not have been ready. So work hard and appreciate the difficult times, as hard times do really make strong men, and strong men make for good husbands and even better fathers. My name is Nolan T. Painter. If you've learned anything from this video, feel free to subscribe and give it a like, and you know what, share it to a buddy you think would also like to hear this message. It really helps me out. I mean that. That's not some nonsense. Of course, though, if you want to get some more from me, right, meaning these YouTube videos aren't enough, well, then I got a little Instagram you can check out, and if that's not enough for you, well, then feel free to book a call with me. I just started like some call services, meaning you can just book a call with me and we can talk about literally anything you want. It can be a religion or it can be a relationship stuff or discipline. I want to be your number one supporter. Screw being a coach. I want to be your number one supporter. I want to sit by you along your journey like I've done with mine, and I want to help you because I've gone through some stuff, man, and it's only fair to you that I help you out. I mean, I've been doing that stuff for 5 years, and finally I want to make it public. I want to help people, and I want it to be a big thing in my life. So if you're interested, help me out and check it out, and maybe we can start some up. Of course, though, when I'm back in school, I want to start up a community. So let me know if you'd be interested with doing a community whole sort of thing, right? Us like-minded men coming together, right? Why be so afraid if you're far and few in between when you can have a group of like-minded men like me and like you that all want to be better for the woman we love? So if that sounds good to you, check it out. Nonetheless, I love you, but God loves you more, and I will be seeing you tomorrow.